As a SharePoint expert who's been consulting for the past 10 years, I've seen so many different examples of SharePoint solutions. I want to show you some of my favorite solutions. Things like policy management systems, which will help you keep track of not only when documents need to be updated and who's approved them, but also who has actually read them. Things like onboarding systems inside of SharePoint. So having an area that you can actually track who has actually been onboarded, the tasks which need to be complete, and maybe what is overdue to be chased up. These are all different examples of how SharePoint can be used to get the most return on investment and not just being used as a SharePoint intranet. Now, I've broken down these solutions into specific departmental areas. The first being that human resources can use it for onboarding. SharePoint can be used in a number of different ways to help streamline HR tasks, such as recruitment, onboarding, and offboarding as well. Now, just to jump into a real example of this, I'm just going to go back to my intranet, and I can see across the top, I have these application areas. Now, we actually have a full solution here, which starts off with a new starter form. So we have a little database, essentially, of all of our employees. And we create a new item inside of this database, and this is the triggering point. So this is what will start automatically issuing tasks, not only to the new employee, but also to other employees around the business. Tasks such as deploying laptops, adding them into certain security groups, giving them a license, adding them to payroll, all the things that around the business you need to do to onboard a new staff member. We can also track things like what health and safety policies that they've read, staff handbooks, quick equipment policies, things like that you want to make sure that they've actually read. So this integrates into our policy management system as well. Now, other things that this system will do is we also have what we call a pre-onboarding area. So this is an area before the employee has actually physically joined the organization that you can share with them. Technically, it's called an extranet. It's SharePoint that's shared externally. But this could be information on the business, so how we work, our values, benefits of the company, things like that. Now, the reason why you might want to have an intranet like this, or I should say an extranet like this, is because everyone in HR knows that just because someone has accepted a job offer doesn't mean that they're actually going to be joining. They could get intercepted. They could get a counter offer from their employer that they're currently working for. They might have also been having other interviews with other competitors, and they might take a counter offer. So you want to stand out against the crowd of other companies. And by giving them an area like this to keep them basically engaged with you throughout that process, rather than just them accepting the offer and then going cold for maybe a month, maybe even longer than that. Sometimes employees have like 3 months notice that they have to work out. So rather than going completely cold during that period of time, you want to keep them engaged, keep them excited to be joining with you, reminding them why they're joining you, and make sure that they're actually going to come across the line. So having this area that you can share with them, and again, it might just be you're sharing information to them, but also you could use it to collect information from them. So if you wanted to give them some tasks to be doing before they join, things like providing some ID, maybe uploading their CV somewhere, or giving references, or things like that, you can use SharePoint before they even join to actually provide them a platform to do this. So other areas as well. So we also have our employee onboarding area. So once they're actually onboarded, they can then get full access to our onboarding system. Maybe there's more information in here, things like employee details, information on who we are, so as a company, our story, our values, our culture, maybe some other resources, FAQs, how to go about using the kind of expenses app, how to get an ID badge to get into the building, all these different things that a user would probably want to know within the first couple of days of working for their employee. Also, we have our kind of task lists as well. Now, these are actually configured via our task config. So you can see in here, we can specify what tasks we want to issue to the new employee, a description, the number of days after they join that task is due, who the mentor is, so who they could reach out to if they have any more questions about that specific task, the department that it relates to. So there might be only certain tasks which relate to certain departments. So say, for example, if you work in IT, there might be a different task than if you worked in the marketing department. And then you can specify whether this is an employee or an employer task. So is it going directly to the new starter, or is this going to an existing employee? You can also specify whether this is a task for onboarding or offboarding. Now, this system works exactly the same for onboarding as it does offboarding. Obviously, it's just in reverse. So if we're setting an employee to say that they're now offboarding, we automatically trigger all the offboarding tasks for them. Now, this kind of is surfaced in a couple of different ways for users, but an easy way is just a short kind of list. So this would be like an employee task list to say, hey, go through, have you provided your passport picture? Have you provided your P45? And they can mark the tasks off as complete as they go through. They will also get reminders that come through into their Microsoft Teams instead of emails as well, to prompt them to make sure that they're staying on track of the tasks that you need them to as part of the onboarding process. Now, the next solution comes in the kind of compliance area. Now, sometimes this is a kind of quality control or it's HR, but essentially we see people using SharePoint for managing things like SOPs, policies, and basically making sure that SharePoint is a single source of truth for all key information. You can get reminders, you can get content to be stayed fresh, you can have version control, you can have approval processes, all built directly into your SharePoint site. So let's just jump into taking a little look at that. So if I go into my applications and go into my control documents area, and you can see we've got a little bit of a SharePoint homepage, which is completely configurable to your requirements. But we often would want to look at our kind of policies based on ISO accreditations, so ISO 27001 or ISO 9001. We might want to just look at expired documents which we need to quickly look at. Or I can just go directly into viewing all of the documents. Now, to give you a quick example of this, so we have plenty of videos on our YouTube channel which go into much more detail about this, but just to give you a quick flavor, you can see every policy that we have inside of our system is tagged with a department that it's relevant to, who's maintaining it. We've got an approval status, which is either draft, pending, or approved, and that informs the version control. So for example, every time we publish and we approve a new document, it will increase the major number. So this would, if I was to publish this document, it would go to version 7.0 as an example. And we can take as many draft versions as we're editing a document as we like. Every document has a review date. So on that review date, it would automatically go and contact the reviewer and say, hey, you need to come and update this document. It's now out of date. Once they submit it for approval, it will go to the approver. They get the option of either rejecting it and then going back to the reviewer, or they can approve it, which again would then increment the version to a whole number, because it's been approved. And it would also set the approval date to the day that it was approved, and then it would calculate based on the review period, so how often this document needs to be reviewed, when the next review date is, and set that. So say for example, today is the 4th of August. If say for example, if I was to then approve a document today and it had 12 months on top of it, it would then automatically add 12 months on top of that. So then it'd be setting it to the 4th of August 2026 as an example. We then automatically send our tracker groups. So our tracker groups are groups of people that we want to basically confirm have read this specific document. So if I just go into my document tracker area here, you can see we would actually be able to see who's read individual documents. So yes or no. We don't have a lot of data in here, but just unfiltered by me. You can then see we've got everybody in here, so we can see who's read documents, who's not read documents. We could filter it by a couple of different things, so based on the document name, based on the user, based on whether they read it or not, or the date that they've accepted it. So let's say for example, if I was looking to filter by someone specific, I'm looking for, let's say it's Paul Smith, and we can look for Paul Smith, and yes, he's read both of our policies that we want him to read. So this gives you two things. One is that you can easily go in and see who's not read a policy document and give them a bit of a kick up the bum and say, hey, why have you not read this particular policy document? You can chase them up. Now the system will automatically chase them, but obviously you can see a list of everyone that is still yet to read or mark that they read the document. The other thing is, let's say, for example, there was a data breach and we found out that Paul had leaked some of our data. We could pull him into a meeting and say, hey, Paul, actually, you confirmed at this date and time that you accepted our data breach policy. So obviously he's on the hook for that particular issue. Now, there's loads of ways that you could potentially use this system, but as I say, it's completely it's a ready-made system that you can deploy directly to your SharePoint. If you're interested in it, there's a link in the description below to get a fixed price to deploy that system for you. Then the third solution is around kind of legal and contract management. Again, you can use SharePoint to keep on top of when key contracts are coming up for renewal or certificates inside your organization that are going to expire. Things like that that you want to stay on top of. SharePoint is a fantastic tool for that. So again, I'm just going to go into my applications area up here and jump into my contracts management. Again, we'll have a little bit of a home page on here so we can see all contracts, contract reports, upcoming contracts, or contract help if we needed to reach out to someone, or we can go into my active contracts and you can see all the contracts in here. Now, obviously, this is just a test area, so there's loads of red and expired in here. But again, we've got a very similar system. It's a bit more simplified than the kind of the policy management that we we're looking at before, but we can easily upload our documents into here. We can see an effective date, we can see a cancellation reminder date, so that we can set this. Maybe it's going to be 6 months before the contract, 3 months before the contract expires, a month before the contract expires. We can completely customize this to your requirements. You can see the status, whether it's expired, whether it's active. So again, we could filter. So we could say, only show me active contracts. So then we can see all of our active contracts. Maybe you would want to tag in here the supplier name. So it might be that you wanted to filter by a specific supplier and say, actually, show me all of the contracts that we have currently with Xero. And then you can see the active contracts you have, and you can see the contract owner as well. So this is really useful. Say, for example, if you wanted to filter by yourself or a specific employee, you can go in here and filter to only show contracts where you are the contract owner. Again, very simplified version, very similar kind of policy management, but a much more simplified version in there as well. We could also expand on that. So if you wanted it to say automatically email somebody, maybe the external contract provider, to say, hey, the contract's coming up for renew, let's book in a meeting to discuss it, blah, blah, blah. We could automate all sorts of different steps like that as well. And then finally, I'm putting this as kind of all departments, but it's kind of business applications. Now, SharePoint, if you have SharePoint, you have and you have a license for SharePoint, you more than likely have a license for Canvas Power Apps as well. So Canvas Power Apps can be used to replace legacy or costly apps and use SharePoint as a place to store its data. So in SharePoint lists, you can have lists of data for things like expense request forms, leave request forms, things like that. So I'm just going to show you a couple of examples. So under our app section, we've got a couple of things which might use SharePoint for storing data. Things like time tracking, desk booking, room booking, expenses, audit apps, things like that could all be using Canvas apps, but actually it's in the data is stored inside of SharePoint. We've got leave requests. So say, for example, if we wanted to book holiday, maybe in here we could see the calendar view, training videos, or even just jump directly into a Canvas app. Now, we can either embed the Canvas app directly into SharePoint if we wanted to, or we can have a tiled button which launches the full Power Apps application inside of a separate tab. So this is what we've done in this case. We've launched our leave request booking system, which is a Power App, but it's using SharePoint to store its data. We can see how much entitlement I have left to take. I can create a brand new request. So whether it's holiday request, sick leave, whatever it may be. I can put in some details here. So maybe I'm going shopping or something like that. And then I can click on confirm. I can see the full details of this and click on submit. Now this will then go to my line manager for approval. Once it's then approved, it will then be taken off my leave balance of a holiday entitlement that I have. I can also see requests, so I can see all the previous requests that I've previously put through, or if I wanted to cancel any, I can do that from here as well. I can request time off in lieu, so you can have additional, you have your holiday balance, but you could also have a time off in lieu balance as well. And a manager's area, I can see who reports to me, and I can actually jump in and see their entitlement and what holidays they've taken. And we also have our company holidays in here, which at the moment we don't have anything listed, but these would be like bank holidays, Christmas, things like that, which basically the holiday booking system would take into consideration. Now, I just wanted to show you this as a real world example. As I say, there's so many different types of apps and solutions that you could build using Power Apps and SharePoint combined to replace costly third-party applications, clunky systems. And I say we build them as a one-off fee, and if you have a SharePoint license, you already have the ability to access Power Apps, so there's no additional license costs either involved. If you need any of these solutions, as I say, everything I've shown you today is already pre-built. We deploy them for our customers for a fixed one-off price fee. There's no additional licenses. This would cover the full configuration to your requirements, deployment, training, and ongoing support as well. There's a link in the description below to contact us to have a free demo of any of these systems as well.